Hey, good morning and welcome back to the podcast. It is 2025 and I am finally back full-time doing podcasting and YouTube videos. Welcome to the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I am Vince, your host, the Evil Dungeon Master. 2025 should be an interesting year as we're going to be working on this podcast, going to a three podcast week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday around maybe, something like that. So it's a little bit more interesting as opposed to a daily thing. I can't keep up daily. I mean, I tried to do that for like 75 episodes straight, actually 100 episodes straight, 100 something. I don't know. I was getting a little burnt out on it, worried about doing it. So like we talked about, some people talked about on YouTube and on Facebook, we're going to go down to a 3 podcast a week, which should be perfect. Give me a little bit more time to peruse and try to figure out what I want to talk about as far as dragons or whatever else I want to talk about, because it may not always be Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Unless you people insist I talk about Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, and I will continue to do that for you. Anyway, you can head over to youtube.com/EvilDM to sign up there, subscribe to me, or find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to hit me up on the ratings as far as Apple Podcasts go, or Spotify if you have that. I've got like close to 300 something reviews on Spotify, so I appreciate those people that actually went there and clicked the review, the star review thing. I appreciate that. You can support me by going to ko-fi.com/EvilDM, make a donation or tip, whatever you want to call it. buymeacoffee.com/EvilDungeonMaster. Those are the places you can support me. Or on YouTube, 99 cents a month. You can get access to videos ahead of time. And Fridays will be the members-only stream where we talk for a little bit. And then we play a game, which you guys can interrupt and tell us what we're doing in the game. Or throw random shit at us, which a lot of people enjoyed so far. And Wednesday night is our return for our stream, Random Rolls. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Now we got all those announcements out of the way. Oh, yeah, ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address in case you want to email me. Anyway, today we're going to flip open the Unearthed Arcana book, and we're going to talk a little bit about cantrips. I know I've talked briefly about cantrips in the past, but one cantrip I wanted to talk about, because some people were saying, well, you don't talk about cantrips. Well, a lot of times cantrips are useless. I'm not going to lie. They are spells that could pretty much be cast very easily, but a lot of them were just kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, like they were just like, we'll just throw this here or there. But I was looking through that, and the one for an illusionist kind of grabbed me on page 47. Tie. It's an alteration spell. Area of effect 1 object. Casting time half a segment. By means of this cantrip, the caster can magically cause an object of the magic thread. Why is it written like that? The caster can magically cause the object of the magic thread, string, cord, rope, or even cable to tightly knot itself to either its other end or end of a similar object within 1 foot of it. The resulting knot will become a normal one, such as a square knot, a half hitch, blah, 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 or whatever sort is desired. The caster verbalizes the name of the knot while holding up 3 fingers. That's an interesting one. 3 fingers you got to do for that. So you're probably saying, well, Vince, that's great. So I can tie my shoes without having to bend over because I'm too fat. No, that's a good way you can use it too. But and you're lazy, or you do that too. But I was thinking, jotted down some ideas. How could a creative player use this spell if they were low level and they didn't really have a bunch of spells? Obviously, you don't have a lot, but you can use it in many different ways. And I got a bunch of them written down here on my paper. You could use it as a trap setting. Use the tie cantrip to create snares or traps. By tying the rope to a tree branch and then maybe the ground or something, you can create a tripwire that will catch unsuspecting foes. This could be particularly effective in an ambush scenario. You're probably saying, well, okay, you could do that on your own, but hey, in this instance, you could just go with your 3 fingers in the air and get it done. You can use another inventive way I thought about, and these really aren't the best. This is a lot of things I just came up with on the fly here for this, but it is interesting in a way that you could use this to secure gear when you're camping or doing a long rest. The wizard or magic user can use the magic user, excuse me, illusionist can use the tie cantrip to secure their belongings to something. Tying down a backpack or equipment can prevent them from being stolen, at least somewhat, or disturbed by wildlife while you're sleeping. So you can tie that backpack up into a tree. You can maybe magically tie it to the ground somehow. You can use it to create barriers. And this is one that I was thinking about. Uh, in a pinch, you could tie multiple ropes together to create a makeshift barrier or wall. This can be used to block a narrow passage or slow down pursuing enemies. So for this one, I was imagining being in like a cave area or maybe even in some type of dungeon, and there's a small passageway there. So you decide to you're gonna rest in this area for 8-10 hours while you're recovering, and there's a small little passageway that goes out the side. I was imagining using this spell to create a little barrier in front of that. And while the rope or whatever you're using, leather strips, are not going to be the best to protect you, but at least it can give you a head start when it comes to protection, or at least some type of warning, because you'll hear these creatures or whatever trying to break through. At least you can use this as a distraction. Tie objects together in a way that creates a distraction. For example, tie a rope to a bell or a series of pots that can create noise when disturbed, drawing attention away from the party's movements. Interesting way you can do that. You can use that as an alarm system too. Instead of taking the time to do it, you cast the spell and you can just stretch it right out and attach it to things, and boom, done. Rescues. If a party member is in danger, the illusionist can use the tide cantrip to quickly secure a rope to a nearby object, allowing for a swift rescue. This can be especially useful in climbing scenarios or when someone is hanging from a ledge. So while you're like, yeah, my guy could just go tie it, this would be faster if you just went rope attach or whatever and not boom, done. As opposed to I get the rope, I go over there and tie, which is going to take some time. I don't care how fast you think it is. This is going to be faster. So, in combat, how would this be used in combat? Now, that's the one thing probably everybody's wondering. Combat, because that's usually where you're going to use a lot of your spells. In combat, the illusionist can tie an enemy's weapon to their hand or to a nearby object, potentially distracting them or restricting their movement. This can create openings for their allies to attack them. Now, that's subject to maybe the DM fiat approval, whatever you want to call it, adjudication. But I think that's kind of an interesting way. You can basically take a rope and toss it in the air towards your enemy and say attached to the hand, attached to the wall, or something attached to the sconce or whatever, anything like that, or the chair. And it's enough that it would create a distraction to have him lose his attack and give your fighter that in to get a nice stab at him. It's not the best, but why not? Let's see here. In a dungeon filled with puzzles, an illusionist can use the tie cantrip to manipulate objects in ways that might unlock doors or real hidden passages. For example, tying a lever to a weight to keep it engaged. So, you know how sometimes in games when you have those, you pull the lever, it opens the door. As soon as you walk away, it slides back or something. Or you stand on the platform and it opens the gate as soon as you step off. Okay, yeah. Things like that you can use it for. Uh, you can maybe use it for. I was thinking of maybe using tying the ropes and to like flags to communicate with people for long distances. Though I was trying to figure out how to really do that. Maybe you could tie it in a certain way that at a certain time the flag will go into the air and it'll signal somebody. What to think about that? You could tie together various objects to create a makeshift weapon or a tool. For instance, trying a sharp object to a stick, create a spear for self-defense. You just kind of have to think outside the box when it comes to some of these cantrip spells, and there's like so many of them on here that we don't even bother with them. And I just wanted to grab one of these cantrip spells and talk a little bit how it could be used in a way that might be fun or interesting, because a lot of times when you're playing these characters, an illusionist, magic user, or whatever, you got one or two spells that you can use, and then it's basically a stick or a rock you're throwing or a dart, whatever. When I may say rock throwing, I mean a sling, but you feel ineffective. And when it comes to these cantrips, it gives you just a little bit more things you can do. And while the cantrips are somewhat useless in a way, like a lot of them are just don't really apply to a lot of things. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. I grabbed tie on page 47 on Earth Arcana just as a random thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to figure out ways that a player can use this if I was playing an illusionist, and what way it would be interesting for me to do. And these are the 9 different things I was able to. I couldn't figure out a 10th one. I was sitting there going, what can I do for a 10th one? And I was like, yeah, 9's enough. So if you don't have 9, that's it. But tell me what you think about cantrips and how using them. Do you use them? Do you not use them? I'm curious to hear what you're saying about your campaign. Tell me anything you else want to hear as well. Comment below on YouTube or on Spotify. You can actually go into the app and comment. I think you could do it on the web too. I'm not positive about that. You can also send me an email, askthedm@theevildm.com, or head over to facebook.com/theevildungeonmaster, and you can leave a instant message there. Instant message. Yeah, I think I'm back on AOL. Look at that. You can send a direct message to me, or on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at the Evil DM, or on Threads too. So, Evil Dungeon Master. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to head out. Hopefully, you have a great Monday and a great start to your week. So keep original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everybody, and keep those AD&D fires lit. Good night, everybody.